For this video, we'll be importing some audio, and we're going to loop record an audio lead line like we did last time with Pro Tools. But we're going to do it obviously in Reason this time, and we'll set up Reason to record the audio output of a synthesizer, and we'll do multiple takes, and then we'll take a quick look at how to comp audio tracks in Reason. To start this tutorial, open up a new Reason song file and then import the audio loop. And I had you download an audio loop earlier called FPentatonicPractice. So I'm going to go to the Reason file menu. I'll choose Import Audio, and then I'll navigate to where that file is saved. It's currently on my desktop. FPentatonicPractice.wave. So double click that and that should have imported it. Let's listen to it now. Okay, so by the way, for those of you who don't have perfect pitch, which is probably most of you, I don't have perfect pitch either, this chord progression is basically in the key of F major. So what we're going to be looking at and practicing to play our little melody lines over this chord progression, we're going to play an F pentatonic scale. So I'm going to use this audio, which has drum and bass and a guitar part. This is going to be my backing track that I'm going to play against. So first thing I'm going to do is turn off the record enable buttons, and I'll set my left and right markers to either side of this audio loop here. It's a 16 bar phrase, and I'll turn loop on. So now that when it gets to the end of bar 16, it'll loop back and play again at the beginning. Go back to the beginning, and it'll keep playing and playing and playing until I stop it. What I'd like you to do now is add another instrument. And I'm going to add a Thor. The way I'm doing it is right-clicking right in the empty rack space. I'm going to go down to the Instruments menu, and I'll choose Thor Polysonic Synth. And for this tutorial, I'm going to use a preset patch. It's in the Thor Lead Synths folder, and the one I'm going to use is called Combing Lead. That's what it sounds like. All right, so what we're going to do here is set it up to record audio. Do you remember how we did that last week when we were doing the resampling? It was right here in the instrument rack. What we did was we opened up the mix channel that a synthesizer was plugged into. That's this thing right here. So I'm going to open up that mix channel, unfold it, and then over here on the right in the display area there's a little checkbox that says Record Source, R-E-C Source, for Record Source. I'm going to check that box. Right? Next, I'll scroll down in the rack a little bit, and I'm going to right-click just below Thor and create an audio track. I'll unfold that audio track so we can see it a little better. And what I want to do with this audio track is I want to set the input, the recording source, input recording source, to that Thor instrument. So I'll click on this arrow right here. I'll make it a stereo input, and then I'll click there again and I'll choose Thor 1. So now that audio is going to record the output of my Thor synthesizer. As I'm going to be playing melodies, though, it's the Thor synthesizer that I want to trigger. So because I just added the audio track, you'll notice here in the sequencer window that audio track is currently play enabled. Remember that we can highlight tracks on Reason like this to make them play enabled. I want to play enable Thor, but I don't need to record enable Thor. I don't care about recording my MIDI notes. I do want to record enable the audio track. So I'll record enable the audio track, but you'll notice the Thor track is still highlighted. It's play enabled, and if I touch the keyboard, sure enough, I can trigger the Thor synthesizer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewind this to the beginning of the sequence. I'll just do that by tapping 0 on the numeric keypad a couple of times, and then I'm ready to record. I'll give myself a click track and a pre-one measure count off, and I'll hit record. And what we're gonna practice here, what I'd like you to do, you could solo using an F major scale. I'll have handouts that show the notes of these scales, but what I want you to do is practice playing an F pentatonic scale. Those of you who do not read music and don't know any music theory, I'll have a little keyboard chart that shows you which notes are safe and which notes are not. For those of you that do understand even a little bit of music theory, those who are in Music 101 or any of Dr. Keller's theory classes, a pentatonic scale that we're going to use, a major pentatonic scale, includes the first note of the scale, which for us will be F, and the second note of the scale, which will be G, the third note, A, then we'll skip the fourth. So we'll play the first, second, and third note of the scale, and we'll also play the fifth and sixth note, which in this case, the fifth note of an F scale is C, and the sixth note is D. I played in the cracks there, sorry about that. That's the D. So the notes that are safe for us to play are F, G, A, C, D. Okay, so basically all white keys, but we're going to skip B and skip E. All right, let's play a little so you can see what's going on. I'll hit record, there'll be a one measure count off, and then I'll just start soloing. get the idea. So the key thing about these pentatonic scales is that every note is a safe note. Maybe the melodies aren't the most interesting in the world, but if you're a person that lacks keyboard chops, or a person that lacks a lot of musical theory background, and you're looking for a way just to write an acceptable melody for a pop song, this kind of has the flavor of a pop song, a pentatonic scale is a nice, safe way to go.